Whether you're a seasoned collector or somebody just starting out, these are the top 5 watch collecting mistakes I see people doing all the time that you should avoid. So let's get right into it. So if this is your first time watching my videos, I've been a part of the watch industry now for 10 years, collecting watches, 5 years, of course, working on the sales side of things. But I have to say that I see time and again these same mistakes being made, both from seasoned collectors who've been collecting over 20 plus years to collectors who have just started in the kind of 1 to 5 year range. But no question about it, part of watch collecting is making mistakes. It helps to evolve over time and help you grow in terms of your taste, your style, your preferences, but also learning what you ultimately like and don't like and filtering your collection to really create your vision for perfection. And that's what's really important, right? One thing that I will always say is that you have to keep trying on new watches. You have to keep kind of experimenting and seeing new things and trying new things on, because it's really a trial by fire experience when it comes to watch collecting. You either love the watch or you don't like the watch. And the only way to decide that really is seeing it in person, right? Getting the breakdown, nuts and bolts perspective is great and all, but really you have to try on new watches. So as I mentioned, watch collecting mistakes, starting first without question is a placeholder buy. I see this time and again with people wanting to get a specific watch and getting something as kind of an alternative to that watch that of course is a little bit more accessible, maybe in terms of price point, or that maybe in terms of text and specs are a little bit better, but generally speaking, just aren't the watch that they ultimately wanted in the first place. And these placeholder buys I see getting done all the time, and it is a huge watch collecting mistake without question, because it will never satiate the appetite for that original wristwatch that you wanted. Now, the number one thing I see this being done with is with Rolex, for example. Most people want to collect Rolex, and once they actually get Rolex, actually realize maybe it's not a watch for them, and that's totally okay. But having to maybe go through a bunch of different watches to eventually get to that Rolex is often what most watch collectors go through. And so they'll go through a variety or a gauntlet of different dive watches, a Tudor Black Bay, an Omega Seamaster, on their journey to getting maybe something like a Rolex Submariner, for example. And without question, I think that is maybe not the best idea, although the journey is great, right? Learning and experiencing new watches. Those watches will never do it for you because it's not that original wristwatch. And that placeholder buy will ultimately, most of the time, end up losing you money because you'll have to trade out of it or sell out of it to get the one that you really wanted. So no question about it, placeholder buys is a mistake that I commonly see among watch collectors, whether you're a seasoned veteran or somebody just starting out. And it's something that you definitely should avoid just to save yourself time, money, and of course the headache of having to sell your wristwatch. Now, of course, that's not to say that placeholder buys are a terrible thing. I think with every new experience gained, you're going to get a better feel and better sense of what you really like and what you're really going to go after in the future. And so every single experience is going to help build your kind of tastes and preferences. And so that is definitely worthwhile. But again, placeholder buys, generally speaking, never work out. And so you should generally avoid them in that regard. Next up is a pretty simple one, and that is buying watches too quickly. The real problem with buying watches too quickly is you don't really get to think out the process of building out your watch collecting and also just your watch collection in general, right? The big problem is when you're buying watches so quickly, be it affordable watches or luxury timepieces, you really don't think it through, right? You're just kind of buying on impulse. And although buying on impulse is really fun, and maybe you're traveling somewhere and you decide just to pick up a watch just because it's attached to a great memory, or whatever the case may be, buying watches too quickly will ultimately impact your purchase decisions in the future because, of course, nobody has unlimited resources, but also it will affect your kind of vision and collection and will muddy things, generally speaking. I think establishing kind of a criteria of what fits in your collection versus what doesn't, of course, trying on new watches, figuring out what exactly you like is really, really important, but really establishing that criteria of what you should add to the collection, maybe establishing somewhat of a vision for the future in terms of where you'd like to be, what you'd like to collect, and what you'd like to purchase and add to the collection, I think is really important. Again, these are, for the most part, that the people that I talk to are building a luxury collection in the tens of thousands of dollars. And so having a collection kind of thought through really is an important exercise that most people don't tend to do, right? They just kind of collect and figure it out as they go along, instead of taking kind of a methodical approach to watch collecting to really kind of hone in on everything and really dial their collection in to really achieve what I feel is kind of a more worthwhile collection that they'll actually wear, as opposed to a collection of a bunch of impulse purchases or placeholder buys, as I mentioned, that just don't suit their fancy and of course that they want to change in and out of every couple of years. Now my next point is going to be something that I mentioned at the start of this video, and that is of course to never stop trying on new watches. I think it's without question the most important thing a watch collector can do is trying on new things, experiencing them in the metal, in the flesh, winding them, pulling out the crown, setting the time. Again, I'm a big nuts and bolts guy. I really enjoy kind of dissecting a watch from a nuts and bolts perspective, but there's no question about it. I'll be the first to tell you it's a sink or swim kind of mentality when it comes to watch collecting. When you get a watch in hand, you try it on your wrist, you either love it or you hate it, or maybe hate is a bit of a strong word, or you dislike it, right? The point is that you will either love it instantly and it will capture your heart, or there will be something about it that will kind of grow over time that you maybe don't dislike, or maybe you can live with it. But ultimately, it is very much a trial by fire experience when it comes to watch collecting. The best way to figure out what your preferences are, what you enjoy collecting, is by trying on new watches. And it's going to tie in also to another point that I want to make, and that is don't buy watches you don't plan to wear. I absolutely hate when people tell me or ask me, what do you think are watches that are going to be the best investment over the next 10 years? I don't sell financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to investing in watches. Neither does anybody else for that matter. So when I tell people that you should just buy watches that you enjoy wearing, that is a very, very important point. It's not because you see it on social media. It's not because you see it kind of celebrities wearing it that makes it a good watch. You should go out and try it for yourself. And of course, if you plan on wearing it, love it and enjoy it, then of course at that point, I think you should add it to your collection. And again, this is going to tie into my next point, buying watches for the wrong reasons. I think that buying watches for the case of investment, for social media, for all these other things, other than pure passion, you like the watch, you want to wear the watch, you want to enjoy the watch, and of course it is part of kind of a cohesive collection vision that you have. I think all of these factors are really, really important in building out, again, a methodical watch collection that has, of course, all the hallmarks that you want to hit, but also all the kind of unique nuances and quirkiness in a watch collection that makes a collection distinct. But for sure, without question, I see so many people buying watches for all the wrong reasons because social media tells them maybe their friend picked one up and they're really jealous and want to add one to their collection themselves. I think this is really the wrong approach to watch collecting, and I think it's only cured by going out and trying on new watches and really kind of watching YouTube content from people like myself or others in the industry that make great videos and have great opinions and insights into watch collecting, and of course different watches when it comes to reviews and other things of that nature. I absolutely love it. I eat up watch content 24/7. It's something that I always enjoy and always am passionate about, and so without question it has definitely guided my vision for my personal collection and has definitely influenced my purchase decision. So definitely eating up social media content from YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff is really important, and it's going to be influential, but just make sure it doesn't influence your opinions in the wrong kind of ways. And last but certainly not least, should be a pretty easy one in 2025, but it's something that I see all the time, and it is, if a deal is too good to be true, do not go for it. Do not trust an untrustworthy source. It is just that simple. Again, especially in 2025, there are so many outlets to check and verify who you're buying a watch from, right? And there are so many outlets out there to buy from trusted dealers. It is definitely worth paying a little bit more, but having the peace of mind, knowing what you're getting and knowing that you're going to actually physically get a legitimate, authentic watch by buying it from a trustworthy source, as opposed to getting a screaming deal and getting something that you ultimately didn't pay for. I know it sounds simple, it sounds kind of very straightforward, very easy to understand, but I see this all the time, that people trust the wrong sources just because, of course, the deal seems amazing, so much better than that last person that quoted them on a specific watch, but ultimately they're left holding the bag because it's not what they ultimately paid for. And again, I can't stress this enough, buying from a trustworthy source is so easy in 2025. There are so many amazing resources that people can look up just to do a basic search, a basic reference check on somebody to make sure that they stand behind their products and that what you're getting is absolutely what you're paying for. So guys, these are my top 5 watch collecting mistakes I think that new collectors and of course established collectors should avoid in 2025. Let me know down in the comments below what you think, of course, are some of your top watch collecting mistakes that you've seen people make. I think this is definitely an important topic. Again, we're not perfect, we make mistakes, but those experiences help mold us as better collectors. And the best part about watch collecting is getting our shared experiences together and being able to learn from them together. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Of course, as always, my name is Marco for Bernese Jewelry. I'll see you all in the next one.